Hari Om. Does our perception of the world has any relation to our state of mind? यदि हमारा ध्यान शुद्ध चेतना पर केंद्रित है तो दृश्यमान जगत हमें पराया नहीं लगेगा, अजनबी नहीं लगेगा। शरीर और जगत का अनुभव होने पर भी हम उनसे प्रभावित नहीं होंगे। If our attention is always on the presence of Bhagavan, the pure awareness, the I am, Aham within, then what we see of the external world will not be seen as something apart from us. What we see will not be seen different from what we perceive within. So what is important here is we need to be centered on our source, which is basically Bhagavan, the presence of Bhagavan, Nirguna Brahman, Atma, existence consciousness, the pure awareness, Satchit, just remaining as I am, Aham. So the more our attention is on the pure awareness or the presence of Bhagavan, the lesser we will be influenced by the perceptions, by whatever happens in the external world. This is what we need to constantly put into practice of Mahayoga. So, to the extent we are able to keep our attention on the presence, then to that extent the external perceptions will not disturb us. They will be happening as they are, but as we perceive the world, we will not be disturbed. Our state of mind will be that of peace and silence as our attention is being centered on the presence of Bhagavan. And to the extent our attention flows towards worldly objects, that is, to the extent the ego sense has its hold on us and our mind is flowing outwards, then to that extent the external worldly perceptions will disturb us. So essentially our perception of the world is entirely based on our state of mind. Our sthiti decides the drishti. Sthiti means state. Sthiti is what is directly responsible for the way in which our perception, drishti, is happening. Drishtim jnanamayim kritva pashyet brahmamayam jagat. If we can see from the standpoint of jnana, that of knowledge, then what we see of the world will be that of Nirguna Brahman, God, the vision of God. Here, what it means is that when we see the world, it is not just with the physical eye, it should also have the wisdom, the view of jnana. Accordingly, then what we see will be influenced by the vision of God, Nirguna Brahman, which is omniscient, omnipotent and omnipresent. So what is important is to understand the fact that it is only within we can find the eternal truth. And to the extent we remain in the presence of Bhagavan, then to that extent, whatever that may happen in the world, it will not truly disturb us. Because we are centered on the source of everything, which is God, Nirguna Brahman, presence of Bhagavan. And for this, we need to stop reacting to the worldly perceptions. We can have thoughts in various ways, like from the past, thoughts of the past, which can happen to us through our inclinations or vasanas. We may have kind of anxiousness or worries about the future, and we can have thoughts based on our worldly perceptions. So, in general, in these three ways, we can have unwanted thoughts. So, here we need to understand how we can manage the unwanted thoughts due to the worldly perceptions. So, for this, if we can keep our attention on the pure awareness or the presence of Bhagavan within, then naturally we will not be unwantedly reacting to the worldly perceptions, because our attention is being centered within. But there could be certain situations where one may not find the ability to remain centered on the presence of Bhagavan. Then in those situations, at least what we should do, or what we should apply in practice, is that we should avoid reacting to the external perceptions. When we refrain from reacting to the external perceptions, then what happens is, to that extent, we will again keep our focus on the presence of Bhagavan within. When we are focused on the presence of Bhagavan within, we will not unwantedly react to the external perceptions. And when we stop reacting to the external perceptions, then what happens is, naturally our attention will again be on the source, the presence of Bhagavan. So how to stop reacting to the worldly perceptions? By being watchful, detached aloofness, by kind of stop reacting to the worldly perceptions. How to do that? We have to be extremely watchful. When we perceive the world, when we are in the act of perceiving something, the moment we show some interest, inclination, or feel kind of emotionally attached, it could be either way, it could be in a positive way or negative way, then in those kind of situations we tend to react. So in those times we have to be very watchful and cut short our reacting to the worldly perception. So what happens is, as long as we don't react to the worldly perceptions, we remain as I am. The moment we start reacting to the worldly perceptions, I am is getting replaced by the I thought, the ego. So we should not let the ego sense take over and always remain as I am, which basically means we should be very attentive to the perceptions, worldly perceptions, and never allow the perceptions to go to the state of we reacting to them, by cutting it short due to our focused attention within. To the extent we keep attentive when we are engaged in the world, then those worldly perceptions will not impact us much. We will not go to the state of reacting, and we will remain as I am, the pure I. Thereby, our attention will always be on the presence of Bhagavan. As long as we remain as the pure awareness, we will not react much to the external perceptions. The moment we allow the ego sense to take over, we will start reacting to the perceptions. So what we do, we keep our attention always on the presence of Bhagavan, the I am, Aham. Then we will not unwantedly react. And whenever we feel we are very close to reacting to unwanted situations, then we have to be watchful. We have to kind of take a step back. The moment we focus our attention within, then naturally we will remain in the presence once again. So the next moment, the worldly perceptions will not cause us any problem. So this is what we should always keep in mind. The moment we react to the perceptions, then basically it is an act within the space-time, because there is an object for which we are reacting. The moment we remain as the pure awareness in the presence of Bhagavan, then it is not an act within time and space, because we are in the presence and there is no object for which we are reacting for. So this is the way by which we can avoid reacting to unwanted worldly perceptions, and the way by which we can always remain in peace and happiness irrespective of whatever may happen in the world. நம் உள்ளம் தூய உணர்வின் மீதே இருக்குமானால், கவனம் தூய உணர்வின் மீதே இருக்குமானால், நாம் காணும் உலகம் நமக்கு அந்நியமாய் இருக்காது. உடல் உலகங்கள் அனுபவமானாலும் நாம் அவற்றால் எந்தவிதமான கஷ்டமும் உண்டாகாமல் இருக்கலாம். உடல் உலகங்கள் அனுபவம் ஏற்பட்டாலும் எந்த விதமான கஷ்டம் இல்லாமல் நம்மால் இருக்க முடியும். ஈவன் if we experience our body and mind, they will not cause us much issues to the extent we keep our attention on the presence of Bhagavan, the pure I am. So even if the ego sense arise, still we can remain centered on the presence within, and because of that we will not be affected by the activities of the world. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva.